And got the chicken thighs out. I've had them out for a little bit so they get warm-ish, you know, room temperature. We've talked about that. I got some fresh herbs. I have some chives, some savory, parsley, and then some dry herbs I'm going to put on it, along with a little bit of soy sauce and vinegar. And hey, Regina, can you bring me the asparagus, please? Asparagus, please. That whole container. And then we have some tapenade left over from the other day. The asparagus. Oh. And then I have some tapenade as well. So I'm going to grill some asparagus, some Vidalia onions, and the chicken. So I want to get that on pretty quickly. All right. So over here, I grabbed some. It's on the table. Yeah, it's in that pan. Come over. All right. There you go. All righty, and the. All right, and then I've got some tapenade. We'll put on the plate as well. Okay. And I also have some fresh fennel that I have in the garden that we're going to use today too. So I've got fresh Hadley grass and Vidalia onions. We're going to season those up, and then we'll grill those as well. I'm trying to just do everything outside, so it'll be a little different. And then let's see how this works. Might be a little bright, so I'll try to come this way. Yeah. All right, I don't know. I can't really see you guys, so hopefully you can see me. The first thing we want to do is I want to season up the chicken, right? So it's been tempering a little bit, and I'll put this down here with the asparagus. So I've also got a fresh chives finely blossomed. So I think at the end I'll put those on top for kind of like garnish, if you will. And I've got some fresh parsley. Oh, I need to get some chives, right? I need to get some chives. Hold on. All right, so I got a little fresh chive. I got some savory and parsley. I'm just going to coarsely chop that. This cutting board, you probably can't see it. I actually made it back in 75 or 76. Isn't that funny? Oh, that smells good. There's nothing like fresh herbs, right? I'm going to save a little bit to put on the vegetables down there. And then we'll put the rest on here. Okay. And usually I like to use a little balsamic. I forgot I don't have any, so I'll have to get some. So a little balsamic, a little soy sauce, because I have it. I don't have any balsamic. Usually in the summertime, and with the shopping, it's weird, right? So I got to make sure I get some balsamic vinegar. I'm going to put a little red wine vinegar on. And then a student from before does these wickedly wild spice herb mixtures. And let's put a little bit of that on. Oh, the other thing I need is a little olive oil. Hey, Regina, olive oil, please. Look at that. They're on the phone with our grandchildren from California, so I'm a little distracted. I started getting organized, and then we got sidetracked.
What's up for?
I need some olive oil.
Okay, just a minute.
Extra virgin.
There he is. I have to go get him some olive oil. Cooking on the grill.
All right, so I'll just put that down there for now. And we'll put a little bit of oil on it. Okay, so I got some fresh herbs, some salt, soy sauce. If I had balsamic vinegar, it would be on there. I'm going to put a little pepper on.
No, Lucy, no.
You can let her out, it doesn't matter.
Here you go.
Thank you. Just a little drizzle. I don't want too much because it's just to help coat it a little bit. There's plenty on the chicken. So I'll get the chicken on, and then I will put the onions on because those will take a while too. I may adjust the temperature on the grill because I like to kind of have the middle of the grill not hot and the sides a little hotter. It helps keep it from all right. Okay, so I'm going to start with the skin side down right now. It might not flare back too much because I have these little ceramic bricks that I put right below the grill. Right, so this will be my raw chicken. I've got some fresh pans for the cooked chicken when the time comes. All right. And then I've got some medallions. I already peeled them. The fennel and asparagus. The onions and the fennel will take a while. So I will hold on to the asparagus. I'm going to put this down here. I probably should have put it under the table. I'm going to try to grill a little more, especially now that it's getting hot out. So I'll have to clearly put another little table next to me. All right, so the onions, I want to cut them thick. Another thing we used to do at the restaurant is I used to cut them 1/2 inch, 3/8 inch thick and partially cook them in the oven and then finish them on the grill. So if you wanted to get stuff ready for your friends, you can par cook everything in the oven and then just finish it on the grill so it all comes out at the same time. All right. So I'm getting 4 slices, about the same thickness out of this. Like I said, I got a little bit of the fresh herbs in there. I'll put a little bit of the dry herbs, some salt and pepper. This is almost the same flavoring I have on the chicken, right? Okay. So. And I think the chicken was out for about 45 minutes tempering, just so you know. All right, salt. Last week, whatever I did needed salt. So pay attention about how much you put on. Also, I don't know who I was talking to about asparagus and the idea that when people grill asparagus, they tend to overcook them. So just pay attention. That can be the last thing to go on the grill is the asparagus, okay? And since I put this on the other stuff, I'll put a little bit here. So this should be pretty good. Actually, that fresh fennel is nice. And we purchased it one time, and now it grows wild. So out where my daughter lives in California, fennel is wild. You smell it when you go for a walk or in the car with the doors open, especially when I ride my bike out there. So when we did her wedding a bunch of years ago, I harvested a bunch of the wild fennel. I put that on the grill. They had this big grill, and we cooked the food for about 100 people. And I put the fennel down, and then we put the salmon on top of the fennel. It was really good. All right, so we're getting a little hot here. Get the skin turned over. The color is nice. It's looking good. See if we can. There we go. Okay. And I'm going to turn the middle down a little bit, since that's where the chicken is. So the sides are hot, the middle now is on low. Okay, and I'm going to start cooking the onions and the fennel. Okay. And you can have all this marinated or par cooked, whatever you'd like to do. If it's all par cooked, it just makes really finishing it and giving the flavor of the grill. You could even par cook the chicken in the oven if you wanted to. All right, so I'm just gonna coat these. So that's good. And I've got the middle turned down. I think I just mixed up my tongs. All going to close the oven. I think when you cook on the grill, it's much better to have the top closed. Keeps it nice and hot. Lets the heat kind of convect in there. All right. It's very hot out. So I can have my mise en place done. I could par cook the vegetables, par cook the chicken. Then if I have guests over, it's just really a matter of reheating it and finishing it on the grill. So we're not standing around waiting for it. You know how those barbecues go where the chicken's never quite cooked enough? We probably won't get the chicken cooked all the way by the time we're done. I really want to show you the onions and the asparagus, but I don't think the chicken will be done. And I'll post a photo afterwards of that with the White House. It's really bright back here. And what else can I tell you? So the Hadley grass. So these are from last week actually, and they were so fresh they're in still pretty good shape. I was surprised. We cut the ends off, put them in a little water. That helps hold them longer. Yeah, the Vidalia onions are a little sweeter. I also like to use Bermuda onions when I grill. Not a real fan anymore of raw onions and the flavor that you get from raw onions. Clearly the pollen has come out in force these last 7 days, huh? What else can I talk about? Extra virgin olive oil I like to use for flavor. And then sometimes what I'll do is I'll use a blend, or I'll use a less expensive extra virgin, and at the very end, just before a service, no heat to it. When I have a really nice bottle, I just drizzle that on just before service, much like you would do with whole fresh butter. I think the rocket's going to launch pretty soon too. What is the rocket taking off soon? I think the rocket's taking off, right? Oh, and I sprayed the grill beforehand. I don't know if I did that while you guys were here. So I sprayed the grill beforehand. And sometimes what I'll do, if it's a drier piece of meat, there's a lot of fat in the chicken, so we don't have to worry about that. Sometimes I will spray the product before I turn it over. Just kind of twisting the onions a little bit. And even though you put a little oil on there for flavor and whatnot, it tends to sometimes just kind of, drip. So be very careful you don't put too much oil on. You don't want it dripping and flaring back up on you. Okay? The other thing that spraying does, I started doing this in the late 80s. Before I know I wasn't the first one to do it, but before it became a thing to use, and they didn't have cooking spray that worked well on a grill. We had just spray Pam, and if you sprayed it on a grill or whatever, it would flare back, right, like a fire out of here. It's almost like basting too. So you can baste the product. See that this one's not a open flame grill one. You can buy it that's good for grill. And so it's another way to help keep the moisture going. But also without the oil, when you put it on the grill or you put it on saute pan, the reason we put oil in a saute pan, let me just put this down here to hide it. It's going to get hot. So a saute pan kind of has these bumps in it. And so we put the oil so that the heat connects to the product. So without a little fat here, you don't get the connection between the heat and the product, and then you won't get nice lines and whatnot. Okay, so it's important to have a little bit of oil on there. You don't want it drenching. I don't want to pick it up and have it dripping with oil. That's not good. Way back in the 70s, early 80s, everybody used to have like a brush. You kind of see the barbecue joints, but those usually don't have much fat in it. It's the fat from the product that's dripping down. It's really hot outside. If you haven't been outside, it's really hot outside. So we're getting nice color. Turning over again. You can see they're starting to soften up a little bit. I want to go as cooked, but you can see inside it's still pretty white and kind of raw looking. And the other thing, if you haven't experienced it, stainless steel and metal, especially stainless steel, gets really hot in the sun outside. So with the chive blossom, you can take a pair of scissors or your fingers and you can squeeze it and that'll come off like confetti. So we'll put it back over here in the shade on the left. It's not bad in the shade. And then, so this olive tapenade will be delicious with anything grilled. So we made it, last week or the week before? Keep that in mind if you make some olive, it's just Kalamata olives, right? And you don't want to use regular black olives. They're not going to have as much flavor for you either. All right, we're going to close this down. We'll cook a little longer. If you remember with the asparagus last week, when we cooked them, it was pretty obvious. See, it's pretty firm. It'll start getting soft. And remember, I'm not going to put them in ice cold water. So keep in mind they're going to continue to cook. Okay? So when they start feeling tender, take them out and let them finish cooking by themselves. Or we call that carryover cooking. And like I said, where the meat is in the middle, it's on low. The sides are on high. So I'm going to kind of load these up in the back. I want to show you the asparagus. So they're barely coated, they're glistening a little bit. I kind of don't want them touching right now. I want a little of the heat to go around them. They'll cook more evenly. I can put any of the vegetables back in here. There's been no meat in here. And I already messed up my tongs, so these are predominantly vegetable tongs now. I'm going to try to keep them all facing the same way. I'll make it a little easier to plate. Lost a little chunk of onion back there. This will have to be cut up small. I think just to eat it like it is going to be a little tough, even though they're pretty new. But yeah, it grows like a weed. So if you buy fennel, baby fennel, and let it go to seed, which is really cool. When it goes to seed, it's really nice. It's really good in pickles. If you're making fresh pickles, use that along with dill. I was reading about Za'atar, Z-A-T-A-R, I think. Kind of it's a Moroccan Northern African spice, and I really like those seasonings. So the only thing I don't think I have here is sumac. So next time I go to the grocery store, I'll see if they have it. If not, I'll go ahead and buy some of this because I think that'd be really good this time, with the hot weather. And those that know me, I do like to use cumin, coriander, and stuff like that. So I think the spice blend is usually coriander, cumin, sumac, some kind of pepper pod. Hey, Reggie. I don't know if she watched the Rocket. Okay, these are starting to get soft. I can feel it. But I want them to loosen up a little bit. So I'm letting them break apart now a little bit. If you cut them much thinner than I did, the 3/8 to a half an inch, then they're really difficult to deal with on the grill. And like I said, for easier service, if you have that par cook, I would not par cook the asparagus. But you could have like today, could have the chicken and the onions par cooked, do it in the oven if you wanted to. First thing in the morning, cool it off, put it in the fridge, and then when everybody shows up, or just when it's time for dinner, you just reheat it on the grill. I can just tell when I touch the chicken, it's still pretty firm, kind of that raw feeling. And you don't want to, I can tell they're starting to cook. I don't want to burn them. I don't want them fully burnt. A lot of people do that. You see them pictures of them. Sometimes they're just too, they're getting there, right? Yeah. The skinny ones are probably done. They're gonna keep cooking, and it's hot out too. Let's not forget, it's not gonna like cool off really quickly. Those look nice. You see the color changes too. They get a little brighter right now. Those will keep cooking. A little faith in that carryover cooking. The thicker ones take a little longer. Oh yeah, nice color. Look at that color on there. I hope you can see it. My feet are getting hot through my shoes. That's how hot out here it is right now. See already how soft they are? Yeah, perfect. That smells so good. Not quite. That skinny one probably. Yeah. Look at it. No, that'll keep cooking. You see some of these skinnier ones I took off earlier? A little flexy. We don't have any starch. I didn't make fresh bread, so and I've been using the Sir Lancelot from King Arthur. It's their high gluten flour, really good for bread. It's the kind of flour we used to use for our pizza joint. And wow, I didn't realize it until I made it the last 2 times. The crust is thicker and crunchier. The bread just has a different texture with that high gluten flour. So if you really want that real crust that you get on the outside of the bread. And the other thing I'm using from them right now is the artisan seed blend from also from King Arthur. I just happen to have it. I found it up at my parents' house and they weren't using it. And it has aniseed, poppy seeds, sunflower seeds, and something else, I think. I think it's like 4 seeds in there. All right, so pan's hot because of the sun. All right, hopefully you can see that. All right, those look good. See how the onions look? The onions are feeling good. We're gonna open them up a little bit. Smell. You can also smell without even touching it. You can see the way they feel. They're less white inside. Remember that first one I showed you earlier? They're gonna start getting a little translucent. The ice is gone. Ice is gone. It's hot out. Chive blossoms make a great, if you have plants around your house or in a garden. Chives make great border plants. They last all season. The blossoms are now, and they're great to put in salads and whatnot. They also are delicious when you to have that fresh chives all the time. You know, it's by the way. So this is what I was talking about with the chive blossom. Is I can just take this. I can't really. The white is too white back there. So if I cut this at the base right there, bam. If I cut it up here, it'll probably blow away right now. All right, can you see that? The pan is hot because of the sun. Okay. And then I'm going to grab. So we got the chive blossoms in here, the asparagus, the grilled fennel. And now we're going to put the onions in. The pan is hot because of the sun. So balsamic vinegar is my favorite thing to use for grilling, especially in the summertime. So olive oil, salt, and pepper. I used to call it the kind of like Italian barbecue sauce. And then I came across somebody else, a newer friend, I forget who, and they used to call it the same thing. All right. So look at that. So we got the asparagus and the grilled onions in there, all nice and soft and tender. The chicken is not cooked yet. I just know it isn't. So I'm going to let that take its time in here. I'm going to turn it the grill down a little bit lower. I think that's it. And I'll just keep trying to show some things. We'll try to continue to do this on Wednesdays. All right. And what else can I talk about? I think that's it. Right. So I tempered the chicken, the vegetables too. Cut the onions about 3/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick. If I cut them too thin, they won't cook well. Oh, let me go close the grill cover too. I used, to season it, I used today soy sauce and red wine vinegar and olive oil, salt and pepper, wickedly wild herbs, and a little fresh herbs, savory, and chives and parsley is what I have right now in the garden. I think that's it. So I'll check and see if there's any comments on Facebook, and then